I'm Margaret in Windsor, and I'm not going to put up any proof or anything. I usually put it up on YouTube and Facebook, and I'm on Twitter, but I don't have things put up there. Anyway, I won't get into my accounts being stolen and hacked into and everything. But anyway, what I wanted to say now is I'm Victoria the Second. And the day I was born the Queen of England. My father's Edward VIII, who never married Wallace Simpson. He was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keeffe, sister to artist Georgia O'Keeffe, who had Ghost Ranch out in New Mexico, Albuquerque, near Santa Fe. And they were born in Wisconsin, the O'Keeffe family were. They later moved to Williamsburg, Virginia. What I am going to put up here, my mom and dad were married. My mom was Queen of England, 36, and should have remained. It was a forced abdication with character assassination. History tells you that my father abdicated in 36 to wed Wallace Warfield Simpson. Now, what they leave out is my father was married. And Wallace Simpson's an American spy. She's twice divorced, I believe, and I don't know her religion, but she was, quote, unacceptable. Well, she's not. My father had nothing to do with this woman, so it was a mass plot to take down my dad. My mom and dad were still alive in October the 20th of 86 when I came to Roanoke, Virginia, and that I know for sure. They were still married. So this double imposter married Wallace Simpson and became the illegal Duke and Duchess of Windsor. So they stole my father and mother's identity. But according to the abdication, the addendum to the abdication, if indeed my father always meant to return, he wouldn't take orders from the Illuminati, the Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, and Joe Kennedy, the Roosevelt family. So they took him down. And they just deleted him from history. Sir Winston Churchill burned the Windsor files, although I understand I wouldn't know about it if the Brits and the Germans hadn't told me, okay? I found out in late 83. But let me kind of just cut to the chase and tell why I'm doing this one. I haven't gotten out all the stuff because it's easy enough to put it, look at YouTube or Facebook, and I've got it all on there. Let me make this comment. Harry is supposed to marry Meghan Markle in May the 19th, I believe, of this coming year. Tomorrow starts the year. And they're going to be married at Windsor Castle. That's where the fake, the imposter that married Wallace, pretending to be my dad, is buried. He died in 72. They should dig him up and get his DNA. If someone's forced to do a correct DNA, because Anastasia, I never knew I'd be in Roanoke here. I came here in 86. Anastasia up here in Charlottesville was murdered. And I'm not going to put that up again because I had the guy that was, he took care of, out in Scottsville, they had a farm. And he was their handyman, except in reality, he was really one of the closest friends. And he knew all the things over the years. He'd listened to Anna, and he knew all of it. Well, there was an attorney. It had nothing to do with Anastasia. Now, this should scare the heck out of anybody. He had her committed to Blue Ridge Mental Health outside Charlottesville. And I'll leave it to you. I've put it up here before. Let me say this, the truth was never told about it. They killed her. Her husband, who was a professor, and I sound like I'm getting off, but I'm not. She's my cousin, just like she was to Elizabeth and them. I mean, it is a sorry family that are illegals that are pretending to be the monarchs. And I mean George, the illegal six, Elizabeth, and did I say George illegal 6? I hope. Elizabeth, Charles, William, Harry. This lineage is a bunch of crooks and traitors, and they know it. They very well know about me, my dad, etc. So, my father never married this woman. A double did. They took out my father's identity. There was an addendum to the abdication that stated, and it was all legal, it went through channels, that if my father had a heir, the heir would inherit. I was born in 39 and kidnapped in 41 by the Illuminati that took down my father. And that's the media, there's a blackout. They've always known it. And Donald Trump is telling the exact truth. The media is a bunch of crooks and liars, and they get paid for doing it. So really, I want to go back to the reason I'm making this. Meghan Markle, they seem to have broken all the rules. They took my dad out on character assassination, which he didn't do. He was married to my mom. And my aunt is George O'Keeffe, the artist. I may have said that. But well, I'm trying to get this up, and I think I'm going to have to do it over. I should have got out my information and everything. Anyway, Meghan, when they tell about the media here, all of them, when they've been telling about the marriage and all this, they will state that she's biracial, that she was married and divorced. She's 3 years older than Harry, and she's an actress. And the thing there is, they say, well, we're modernizing the royal family. Well, they're not the royal family. Too bad they had to go through taking down a beautiful man, my father, because he was honest and did the right thing, and my mother, in kidnapping me, the real monarch. My uncle George helped the Kennedys, Rockefellers, Roosevelt, kidnap me, his niece, and his brother's only child, and helped take his own brother down so they could have the crown. So Meghan, it's my understanding, I think that's what the media was quoting. I don't know how she would be doing it. Anyway, they promised to give well, let me say, to South Africa some funds, which, they're giving away my money. It's what they're doing to charity. I have said a long time ago, if I got everything back and I could, I would repay the people that helped me, and I hope the others suffer the consequences. And I've always liked South Africa. I was never prejudiced. Growing up in Moulton, Alabama, I was never prejudiced, and the more you say about Alabama, I'm not taking up for them. But hey, I've lived and had to live around and met a lot of people, and they seem to be all the same. They're Americans, they stick together, don't you tell them any different. But now then it's suddenly okay that Meghan is going to marry and modernize the modern family. So my point is, they're illegal, and they keep bringing up my father, the Dublin Wallace is who they're bringing up, and they're not telling the truth. They're deleting the truth. They're saying that my father was married to Wallace Simpson. They leave out she's an American spy and all this, but they'll say she's a divorcee and he gave up his throne to marry her. That's a total lie, and that's a double. So now I'm leaving this at the end of it, and I'm not sure that I shouldn't have started out with it. I didn't just do this yesterday, and really it wasn't because my children, I've always been for the Native Americans, the Indians, American Indians. Such a horrible life they've lived. And I've said this a long, long time ago, and all along, I can't do anything to help them at the moment. I can't even help myself. This is the only means I have. I can't get an attorney, and I've put this up on YouTube in the response. Some people are so cruel, and there's a few that are good. Why don't you get you an attorney, woman? And put nasty comments. Well, I've been putting this up here if they cared to listen to my posts. I can't get an attorney, it's too high profile. Oh, I can't even get legal aid. So, anyway, I want to go back to my husband. I married John Childers, and it's my understanding, as far as I know, it's true. His father was, I don't know how much Cherokee Indian he was, and he lived in Winfield, Kansas, Wichita, Winfield, Kansas. His father did. And his father died there and was married to an Indian, or she was part Indian. And they had three sons, excuse me. They had sons by his first marriage to the Indian, and I know that. Now he's Mr. Childers. The father was I don't know how much Indian, 3/4 or something, but anyway, he had Leon, Lloyd, and Wayne were his children by that marriage. Now then, he remarried Thelma Porter from that area, and they had Laura Mae Childers Klein. She lives outside Austin. If she's still alive, I think she is. And John Guy Childers, who I married. And so I don't know how much Indian my children are, but they have their lineage is of Indian descent, some of it. And I really always wanted to help them if I could. I'm in a situation, well, I would like to help. What has always gotten to me is the Indians have, I mean, hey, it's almost like me. They're shoved out in the cold and ice and storm, and to hell with them. That's exactly what you Americans have done while you've invited everybody from Timbuktu to, I could say some words and somebody say, oh, you're not a lady. You better believe I am. I've been through hell, and these people have too, the American Indians. And I want to say this before I go on this video. Excuse me. I was in a campaign, wrote about doctors, and I almost got killed, and I was flown out to Larry Flint's Hustler magazine, and I was in a campaign, U.S. congressional campaign, to replace U.S. Congressman and a physician from Piedmont Hospital, Atlanta, Larry McDonald, who went down in the plane, the KAL, on August the 31st of 83. I was flown out to Flint's because I never met Mr. Flint, but he told in an endorsement that I usually put up on Facebook and with this, he says that I know who was responsible for his shooting in Lawrenceville, Georgia in March of 78, and I do know. And he also tried to kill me, Larry McDonald. And so I was flown out there, and he furnished, I didn't win. I came in 7th out of 20 candidates. It was a special election. And Mr. Flint furnished me a car for a year. It was leased. And I went through all kinds of things. I didn't have any money. So gas was a problem. Eating was a problem. It was kind of ridiculous. Later on, someone who owned a garage and was kind of a friend put it up on whatever you put up on at the garage, and it had two, what do you want to say, gas pipes, or what did he say? Anyway, he shouldn't have had that. So I don't know about the car or about all of this, is truth there is ever told or not. But the point I wanted to make is I had my belongings, and I was in the Larry Flint car, and I was coming back from trying to turn the car in, and they wouldn't take it back. And they never, where they used to put me through to Mr. Flint directly, they would just put me on hold and come back and put me to another line, and then put me on hold. So they never said goodbye, per se. So I was left out there with the car for a year, pumping gas in Grottoes, Virginia. That's where he put it up on the at the garage and looked at the what do I want to say? I've lost it right at the moment for what the word is. Anyway, it was supposed to have one gas tank or whatever. It had two that it shouldn't have had. And it explained a lot when I could go so many miles one time and it'd run out of gas. I thought something was awfully wrong with it. That one day it'd go to a certain length with gas and the next day it would run out. So excuse the way I'm putting this up. It's not coming out that good. I realize that now. I've had a rough time. I hope people can understand that. And trying to get back my father's name, my son's, and mine. What's mine? But the car, I had my little cat, Samantha. I thought Samantha bought Samantha. I thought it was Samantha from a breeder. It was going out after all these years. Well, I thought it was an ass for a little girl. Well, I got home 2 days later. I found I had a Sammy. So I had Sammy. I packed Sammy up in the car, and we were on the way back from L.A. because I was going to try to reach Mr. Flint. I had his car, and I was going to turn it back in or see what. And to make a long story short, I'm going up, I don't know if it's Highway 25 on up into and a roundabout way getting back to D.C. Anyway, I ran out of gas. And it was, I don't know what time, probably about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I run out of gas, and I'm sitting there, and it's kind of a lonely stretch. And I thought, what am I going to do? And I've got my cat in there and all my belongings, and some of the things, there were a little bit of money involved still. Anyway. Along come a vehicle, and guess who it was? He was, I believe they were Cherokee, I'm not sure, but he was American Native Indian. And he was a sheriff. And he was so nice to me. And I told him, I said, I've run out of gas. I told him it was a Hustler car, Larry Flint's car leased to me. I had no money, and I was out of gas, and I didn't have any food. You know what he did? He told me to get in the car, and I said, is it okay to leave my cat in there? Is it safe? He said, yes, it would be perfectly safe. So I went, and he got gas and for me, a big can of gas. He took me to a restaurant there. I've forgotten the time. Well, it was on an Indian reservation. That's what he told me. He said, well, you ran out of gas on the Indian reservation. So what I'm trying to say is not just that goodwill that he gave to me, but I want to ask Elizabeth and the people that are sitting there giving my money away and spending it, and they're illegal. They're fake. They should be in prison. They're traitors, war criminals. And I wonder if she ever thought, what was the reason that she never corrected the wrong they've done? And how about my children? If you want to do one-on-one there, how about that? And it's not even your home or your job, and you're a common thief, not even common, Elizabeth. And you all really mean to stick it, and the public are going along with it. I guess they hate my guts, but then, I've nobody wanted to hear what was done to me and mine. So think about it.